A large crowd gathering, of course not as big as we said in our scene set of 78,000 people, but still quite a large gathering in both the Hogan and the Cusack stands. Peter the Great back here on Croke Park for the first time in a number of years, looking very determined in the dressing room beforehand, and of course now he'll have his brother Pascal on the starting 15 at centre half forward. Both teams had a workout, or rather a walkabout yesterday evening, and here at the moment they're just enjoying a kickabout, getting familiar with the surroundings, and certainly Croke Park, as it did last Sunday, looks absolutely magnificent. Paul Durkin, of course, at centre field, playing in his 11th championship campaign. Made his debut against Leitrim and had a few hamstring difficulties, but he remains at centre field along with Eamon O'Hara. Obviously, Sligo manager Peter Ford was unimpressed with the performance against Galway in the Connacht final and makes 6 changes to his starting 15. Nigel Clancy has recovered from a groin injury and starts for the first time this summer wearing number 3. David Durkin's display was so good when introduced in McHale Park that he retains the centre-back position, with Noel Maguire to his right replacing the injured Pádraig Doohan. Paul Durkin and Eamon O'Hara continued their centre-field partnership, but there are 3 more changes up front. Dara McGarty, Kieran Quinn and John McPartland are first-choice players this time round and replace Tommy Brennan, Sean Davey and Brian Walsh. TJ Gilgannon on the left, former Mayo footballer, and of course the Sligo manager, also a former Mayo footballer, Peter Ford, now in his second year in charge, and last year when they came to Croke Park produced a most memorable performance. A little bit of anxiety in both dressing rooms when I visited, but certainly a great degree of confidence as well. And Tyrone in particular seem very determined to make sure that they go into the last 8. Peter Ward replaces the injured John Devine between the posts and stands behind a defensive formation that remains intact, with Chris Lawn and Cormac McGinley manning the key central positions. Cormac McAnallen is back at number 8 beside Colin Holmes after spending some time at centre forward. Sligo will have to cope with 2 Canavans as older brother Pascal gets his first championship start on the 40, with Declan McCrossan on the left flank replacing the injured Ger Cavlin. What is now traditional and customary, both teams go into a little huddle, get a last few words from their respective captains. Peter Canavan does the business for Tyrone, and Eamon O'Hara still in a huddle with Sligo. And before you joined us, Tyrone won the toss and decided to play from left to right as we look at it. In other words, from the Hill 16 Nally stand end down towards the canal end. Large contingent travelling from Sligo and Tyrone. And Brian Dooher, one of the star players for Tyrone, operating at wing forward. It'll be interesting to see if he adopts his traditional role of playing a defensive wing forward. John Bannon is the match official from County Longford, and of course Longford still celebrating after that historic Leinster minor triumph last Sunday here in headquarters. John Bannon has been in charge of Armagh, Tyrone and Clones in May. It ended in a draw. He was in charge of Cork Kerry in Killarney, which also ended in a draw. 3rd time is it possible for John Bannon to referee a drawn match. Sligo take up the responsibility of the first attack, and it's Paul Durkin with Eamon O'Hara. Centre back is David Durkin, flicking it outside for his Desi Sloyne. Steadies himself and kicks it well. Just 22 seconds played and Sligo get the first start. Very good control play, and look where David Durkin was again, attacking, and Desi Sloyne had plenty of time, surprisingly, to steady himself. Desi Sloyne is in at full forward. John McPartland is moved to centre half forward, and Mark Breheny has gone into the corner. So already switches. There were rumours around Sligo when I was there during the week that Eamon O'Hara might actually take up the centre forward position, but so far that hasn't happened. This is Brian Dooher going on his normal roving roll around the pitches. Pascal Canavan giving it outside to Colin Holmes, and that's just centimetres wide. Pascal Canavan setting up Colin Holmes. You remember he scored a great goal against Derry in Belfast, but this time just a few centimetres off target.
Yes, one other change worth noting actually is that David Durkin has gone to wing back and Nigel Clancy has gone to centre half back, and Durkin therefore is marking Brian Dooher.
Paul Durkin under pressure from 3 Tyrone players. Kieran Quinn going to take the free. Normally plays at centre field, but impressed in training. And Tyrone are opened up once more. Chance here for corner forward Jerry McGowan. Lovely control. Can he flick it over the goalkeeper? And Chris Lawn is there. Oh, cheeky Jerry McGowan almost pulled off a sensational start. Into the centre comes Cormac McGinley. Over this wing is Ryan McMenamin, who loves to go forward. But Tyrone, from a defensive viewpoint, look very porous at the moment. Corner forward, Brian McGuigan, giving it into Peter Canavan. Chance of a Tyrone equaliser. Well taken. The Canavan brothers combining. From a goal almost at the other end, it's a point for the Canavan brothers combination. Just watch this. This was a great opportunity, and look how cheeky McGowan was. Lovely ball control, got inside 2 defenders and then tried to chip the keeper from here, and Ward did well and Chris Lawn came in to assist. McGuigan unable to keep it in. Sideline ball, Sligo. The All Blacks from Sligo. Kieran Quinn fouled, free to Sligo. Ball hopping on the new surface. Back there is Conor Gormley. Peter Ward giving it to Chris Lawn. Man of the match performance in Belfast against Derry. Cormac McAnallen now back at centre field. Declan McCrossan giving it very long. A chance here for Brian McGuigan, trying to get inside the cover. Back outside is Pascal Canavan, and that's another point. Well, his selection has already proved beneficial with 2 first-half points. McGuigan, the defender, did well here. Brendan Phillips forcing him outside, and Pascal Canavan was there for the point.
Yes, and those 2 points for Tyrone have come about actually of breakdowns in the Sligo attack where they should have scored each time.
And obviously, Martin, because of the length of Croke Park, Tyrone are playing a very long ball, at least that, judging by what Declan McCrossan did a moment ago, which is a slight change in style.
Very much so. It was a great pass from McCrossan that time right into the edge of the square.
Coming out to meet this is Stephen O'Neill. Peter Canavan given too much space by Patrick Naughton, and Canavan sends it over the bar. Peter the Great puts Tyrone 2 points in front. Very good interplay between O'Neill and Canavan, but look at the marking, way off target in terms of trying to keep the shackles on a fella like Peter Canavan. Needs to be tighter from a Sligo viewpoint. Kieran Quinn picks up the breaking ball. Noel Maguire selected from the start despite wearing number 19. Declan McCrossan. Again, it's a long ball. Nicely cut by Stephen O'Neill. Pascal Canavan is the overlap. Inside is Brian McGuigan, and Curran comes off his line. The chance is there again for Stephen O'Neill, and he puts it over the bar. In many ways, the long ball strategy is working for both teams, but particularly for Tyrone. They now have a 3-point advantage. This was very good goalkeeping by James Curran, coming off his line, and O'Neill was there to finish the move.
Yes, one of the points at the moment actually is worth noting that Tyrone seem to have the ability to win individual duels on the inside line, and that may decide the outcome of the game. On the other side of the field at the moment, Sligo are playing a two-man full forward line with Jerry McGowan and Mark Breheny, who's in from centre half forward into the corner.
Paul Durkin alongside his midfield partner, and as we look at TJ Kilgallen, they really want to an impressive work ethic down in Sligo during the week, and Tubber Curry and indeed with Peter Ford. They were emphasising they didn't work hard enough against Galway. So James Curran from Coolera Strand Hill. He replaced Peter Walsh last year. He made his championship debut against Carlow. He'll be playing in the under-21 championship actually next Wednesday night in Tuam against Galway, still under-21. Kick out is aimed at Paul Durkin. Picked up, however, by Colin Holmes. Again, the quick ball in towards Stephen O'Neill. And that's going to be another kick out for James Curran. Interesting to see that Nigel Clancy has gone centre back. Mark Cosgrove is now full back on Stephen O'Neill, and Patrick Naughton is marking Peter Canavan. So there's a man-marking job being done by the Sligo management team. Went off a Sligo boot. Sideline ball to Tyrone. Chris Long. Centre back is Cormac McGinley. Here's Brian Robinson. Needs the help of Declan McCrossan. Brian McGuigan, look where he is. Way out from the corner forward position. McCrossan comes for the return. Uses Stephen O'Neill. Some fouling by Patrick Naughton. Free to Tyrone.
Yes, there's great method and purpose to the Tyrone attacks. They're finding each other very well. Their off the ball movement is exquisite, and their finishing is first class.
Well, the one man who can take frees off the hand is Peter Canavan. He's consistently used it over the years, but on this occasion he sends it wide, which is a rather bit of a surprise, knowing Peter.
It's commentator's curse.
Peter Ford going up to the area selected for Sligo here. Indeed, many people have been telling me that since this was introduced, they're actually enjoying the roll up high because they get a better view of the game, better able to read it. And David Durkin just doesn't want to release the ball now. Peter Canavan has it. Sideline ball. Again, Brian McGuigan shows well for it. Canavan comes at speed, gets by one defender, cuts it inside. Good into play. This is Declan McCrossan. Looping ball which finds the target. Stephen O'Neill gets his second point. And very quickly, after 10 minutes of play, Tyrone have a 4-point advantage. Great play by Peter Canavan and Declan McCrossan, setting up Stephen O'Neill for his second point.
Yes, the Tyrone attack are finding each other effortlessly at the moment. Sligo defence far too loose.
Left half back is Philip Jordan. This is John McPartland. Look where he is. At the moment, as Martin mentioned, only Desi Sloyne and Mark Breheny are playing in the Sligo full forward line. Paul Durkin uses centre forward Mark Breheny. Chasing after him Brian Robinson, because Breheny is now playing corner forward. Paul Durkin. Sligo play keep ball, plenty of Tyrone defenders behind. There are only 3 Tyrone players inside the Sligo half of the field at the moment, with 3 defenders. The rest is all inside the Tyrone half. They try this way. Dara McGarty getting away from Brian Dooher. Whatever he's marking him for, not too sure. His positions again mean very little. Sligo lose possession. Good defending by Ryan McMenamin. Declan McCrossan, look where he is. Positions mean absolutely nothing here in Croke Park. Noel Maguire, Nigel Clancy. It's almost like a soccer build-up trying to work their way through. Good run by Eamon O'Hara, and it took O'Hara's determination and leadership to find the most direct way to go. Sligo's second point comes after 12 minutes of play. Very good run here by O'Hara, who decided that the patience game was over. Good finish.
That's a lovely explosive incision by O'Hara that time, and that's in contrast to the tip-tapping that had gone on for the previous 20 seconds before that.
Fools them all. Comes to Cormac McAnally. Brian McGuigan. Nice ball inside to Stephen O'Neill. A little push in the back by Dara McGarty, and the referee says it's not a foul. I certainly would have thought so, that O'Neill deserved a free there. Let's just watch this again. Here was Stephen O'Neill, Dara McGarty, there was the push, and the ball sent well wide. Good punch down by Colin Holmes. Picked up, however, by Mark Cosgrove. Noel Maguire. Many feel in Sligo he should bring on right through this championship campaign. David Durkin sends it over for as Mark Breheny. Much more involved than the game against Galway and Castlebar already. Again, they use the back pass to Eamon O'Hara, who seems to have the ability. Wonderful play by O'Hara. The captain goes for his second point, but he just sends it wide. But that incisiveness and indeed decisiveness by O'Hara is what is required by Sligo if they're going to win this particular game. Look at this for a wonderful run by O'Hara. Lovely little jink, and just slicing it off the boot there, sending it wide.
Yes, he's not winning much ball out around the middle of the field in terms of catching it, but he's trying to get in on the end of attacks, and that's a strong point actually.
Picked up by Cormac McGinley. Chris Lawn under pressure here now. Flicks it back towards Conor Gormley. Brings Peter Ward into the play. Available at the far side is Cormac McAnally. Again, Brian McGuigan makes the long run. Mark Cosgrove stays in the centre. Sligo defensively will have to be a lot tighter, I feel. And that's gone out for a 45. Certainly Sligo seem to be under pressure, Martin, when Tyrone go into the attack. The speed of the Tyrone attack in particular.
Yes, and I think in particular Brian McGuigan is proving too elusive for Mark Cosgrove at the moment. There's so much room in there, and similarly it's going to take all of Patrick Naughton's time to keep a tab on Peter Canavan.
Lovely afternoon here in Croke Park with little or no wind, not favouring anybody. If it is there, slightly favouring Tyrone as they go on another attack, and this one is sent wide by Stephen O'Neill. Fifth wide of the game for Tyrone. In fact, all the flags here in Croke Park, just talking about the weather, are all just
limp.
Not even blowing, not even slightly.
Well, the conditions are perfect out there for football at the moment.
Nicely picked up by Pascal Canavan. Stephen O'Neill. Philip Jordan. Peter Canavan. Brian McGuigan wanted it sent across the face of the goal. Canavan comes along the end line, trying to put him out. Back outside, fires Cormac McAnallen. Chance of a point, and McAnallen takes it. Scorer of every match so far. 2 points against Armagh in the replay, a point against Derry, 2 points against Leitrim. He's been a very consistent scorer, just getting 1 or 2 points, despite not playing that well at centre field. Here's the score again. Great vision by Canavan, and back out to Cormac McAnallen.
Great vision and great body strength to withhold that, or to withstand that challenge actually from Patrick Naughton.
John McPartland can't hold it. Cormac McGinley comes in. Pascal Canavan. Stephen O'Neill. Great running off the ball by Tyrone. Brian McGuigan makes himself available and sends it over the bar. Two All-Ireland Under-21 medals to his credit already. McGuigan, scorer of 1-2 against Leitrim, gets his first point in Croke Park. Very good score and very well created. Nicely picked up by Darragh McGarty. Challenging him is Ryan McMenamin. Back to Kieran Quinn. McGarty. And under pressure sends it wide. McGarty holds his hand up and acknowledges that he should have used his corner forwards. Jerry McGowan just telling him to leave it in low. And that really should be the strategy.
Oh yeah, Jerry McGowan that time is irate for not getting the ball. He had broken very well off his cornerback, Conor Gorman. He should have been given the pass.
Paul Durkin. Foul by Brian Dooher. Free to Sligo. Quickly taken. Jerry McGowan still on the ground as Pascal Canavan sends it in low towards Brian McGuigan. Mark Cosgrove trying to do the fancy stuff, and eventually it comes to Nigel Clancy. Use Mark Breheny. Sligo inclined to hold that ball a little bit too much. Breheny claims his innocence, but the referee said he had sufficient time to get rid of it. And a free to Tyrone. Fairly clobbered in there. There's Mark Cosgrove on Stephen O'Neill. Darragh McGarty. Pass goes astray. Silly, unenforced errors on the Sligo part. And Tyrone once again have possession. Pascal Canavan looking for brother Peter. Patrick Naughton in hot pursuit. Canavan. Thought about using McGuigan. Goes it himself. Oh, that is a great point. That is just a class act. There's no doubt about it.
It's really beautiful. Beautiful score altogether by Peter that time. What is Patrick Naughton supposed to do? Put a leash in him or something? It was delightful.
The sheer balance and the power. Thought about giving it, as I said, to McGuigan, and just curled it beautifully over the bar. It was anticipated in Sligo that they would actually win midfield. It hasn't materialised, and it's a crucial area if Sligo are to beat Tyrone, because Tyrone have a weakness there.
Yes, and they're being overrun completely in their half-back line at the moment, in particular at centre half-back, where I think Nigel Clancy is off the pace, being out of football for so long.
Noel Maguire giving it long. Terry McGowan is putting the pressure on Brian Robinson. And that's going to be a free for Sligo. Chance for Sligo here. wide. A chance here for Desi Sloan. He just curled it just a little bit too much. Like James Curran, Peter Ward is the Tyrone under-21 keeper this year. He'll soon be playing in an under-21 Ulster final against Cavan. This is Noel Maguire. Back outside. Sligo builds slowly. Great pressure from the Tyrone defence. Dara McCarthy gets the room this time and scores a point. Well, when he was introduced at just before half-time for Sean Davey against Leitrim, Dara McCarthy scored 2 valuable points. He's a player that knows where the goalposts are, a scorer. He did very well here. Nice little flick out from John McPartland to Paul Durkin. David Durkin coming from centre back to Durkin. Lobbing this one in. Peter Ward comes off his line. Chris Lawn is there. And so too is Conor Gormley. Available is Cormac McAnallen. Brian Dooher now. Declan McCrossan. Not really playing as a half forward, but more of a midfield from half back. Mark Cosgrove misjudges the hop. Brian McGuigan, look where Ryan McMiniman is now. In his more familiar role of an attacking half back. Uses Stephen O'Neill. But yet again, that one goes wide. Stephen O'Neill, joint scorer, top scorer with Tyrone so far on 2 points, along with the 2 Canavan brothers. It's an easy ball for Colin Holmes. Tactically, Sligo will have to revisit that whole area in terms of the type of kick-out that's going to their midfielders, and indeed the play of the midfielders as well. Here's Brian McGuigan now, about to be challenged and pulled down by Paul Durkin. So a yellow card for the midfielder. Sligo are going to introduce a substitute as this free is quickly taken by Stephen O'Neill. Brian McGuigan back to O'Neill, cutting inside. The challenge was a hefty one by Patrick Naughton, and I would imagine that Naughton will also be booked for that challenge. But he really did stop Stephen O'Neill in his tracks there. It's a yellow card, and there's 2 Sligo players receiving a yellow card in the space of a minute. It looks like Mark Cosgrove is the one that's making way as Sligo rejig their defence. It's Neil Carew that's coming on. Neil was corner back against Galway in the Connacht final. And he'll be hoping for better luck than he had last year against Kildare, because Neil was the player that was sent off against Kildare after 8 minutes.
Yes, no surprise that Mark has been taken off. He just doesn't have the pace for a pitch of this size. And
Neil Carew will indeed add a bit of pace to their defence. Peter Canavan, it's an easy one for him. 3 points for Peter Canavan. 25 minutes of play, Tyrone easily the dominant side.
Yeah, surprisingly dominant actually. I thought Sligo would have been much more in it in midfield, but Tyrone are thinking too quickly. They have far too much variety and scope to their attacking, and Sligo are showing far too much respect to them in general, Marty. The kick out by James Curran. Noel Maguire taking up good positions, picking up a lot of loose ball. Here's a chance for Mark Browning. Peter Ward was very quick. And if you've mentioned, as Martin said a moment ago, about quick thinking about the Tyrone side, that was quick thinking by Peter Ward, anticipated it well. Towards Peter Canavan, Stephen O'Neill.
Canavan, this one is going to bend just a little bit too much. I don't think we'll criticise him for that one.
I think so, Marty. For a player that's in the twilight of his career, he's certainly going out in glory. He's superb to watch today, actually.
Seems to be a change again where they keep swapping. I was just about to say that Peter Canavan is now full forward, but that's not actually the case. They're just swapping positions all the time. Paul Durkin, Eamon O'Hara, the one player who's willing to run at the heart of the Tyrone defence. Still O'Hara, great run. Is the finish to match? Yes, it is. No wonder he was picked for Ireland against Australia. Confident in his play and quite incisive in his approach. Look at this, for a straight run right through the heart of the Tyrone defence. Makes room for himself and scores.
He's the one player capable of giving leadership and inspiration on the Sligo team at the moment. Again, his forte is coming forward like that, carrying the ball, and the accuracy on the two occasions he has come forward has been commendable.
Two men in charge of Sligo, TJ Kilgallen and Peter Ford. And two people out of shot, Matty Hoey and Shane Tully. A little bit concerned about their captain. Eamon O'Hara in his 9th championship campaign. Let's just see this again as he was taking that shot. That challenge from Conor Gormley arrived late, and he obviously just seemed to twist himself. But he made his debut at 18 years of age against Mayo at centre field, and now 26, he's still at centre field for his county. Intelligent kick out by Peter Ward. Out to the wing, feeding Cormac McAnally. Conor Gormley, Pascal Canavan, under pressure from both Nigel Clancy and Paul Durkin. Stephen O'Neill, Patrick Naughton with him. Half blocked by Naughton, he did very well. Noel Maguire releases it for Brendan Phillips. Kieran Quinn was unlucky with the bounce, and immediately, look at that, 3 Tyrone players converging him. Did well to get out first, Noel Maguire. Tyrone, once their forwards lose possession, they harass and chase very well. Most impressive. Here's Nigel Clancy. He too was impressive when introduced against Kildare last year. A ball into space for Jerry McGowan. Coming across to mind him was Conor Gormley. So too Cormac McGinley. Nice skill. Just takes a little bit too much out of it. There was a challenge there that was a little bit over the top by Gormley, and that's going to be a free for Sligo.
Yeah, she commented on the tackling of the Tyrone team. It has been waspish up to now, but certainly in that case I think Conor Gormley fouled Jerry McGowan, and wouldn't be surprised if he gets booked.
Gormley is in his first championship season, and he gets a yellow card for the first time. Played cornerback on the 2001 All-Ireland Under-21 team, and now graduated to senior level. This was the challenge on McGowan as Gormley came in here, and you can see the fist was shut tight, so Conor Gormley correctly booked. And Jerry McGowan, top scorer with Sligo, with a goal and 13 points in 3 games. Scored 8 points in New York, against New York. So he picks himself up and going to take the free himself. Difficult angle, and it swings across the face of the goal. The kick out by Ward is a quick one. Nicely gathered by Declan McCrossett. Pascal Canavan. Tyrone maximising this pitch, spreading the ball from one side to the other. Stephen O'Neill. Brian McGuigan is available outside. Cormac McAnally with possession, was inside. Back to McCrossett. Good effort, but it's just gone to the left and wide.
Yes, worrying is for Sligo. Tyrone seem to have so much time when they attack. The Sligo marking in general is very, very loose, and they're not contesting the ball enough in the tackle, in contrast to the waspish, I'd say, determined and disciplined tackling of the Tyrone team.
And particularly the Tyrone attack, because when Sligo have the ball in a defensive position, they're harassed, they're chased.
Very much so, Marty.
Free this time for that challenge on the Sligo man. And for descent, an extra 13 metres. John McPartland. He may have 14 in his bag, but he's nowhere near the full forward position. Jerry McGowan gets away from Brian Robinson. There's a chance here. Mark Breheny. And it's gone over the bar. That's a little bit better from Sligo now. Breheny, scorer of 1-9 in 3 games, adds to his personal tally and reduces Tyrone's advantage to just 4 points. But it was all created by McGowan here, spotting that Mark Breheny was inside, and he probably took the right option overall.
Very much so. And Tyrone will be a bit disappointed, whereas they have been the superior team. It's not been reflected in the scoreboard at all. Like coming into half-time, only 4 points in it. Sligo in the game.
Noel Maguire to David Durkin. Sligo supporters in Croke Park getting behind their side now. John McPartland giving it back to Kieran Quinn, looping this one in. It's a good ball. First touch leaves McGowan down, but he still won himself a free. So a chance for Sligo again to reduce Tyrone's lead of 4 points at the moment. And it's McGowan that's going to take it himself. This one is just tailing to the right and wide, and that was very much a scoreable free, and it'll be a disappointment to Jerry.
Oh, very much so. That would have pulled it back to 3 points had he scored it, Martin, and the ball in front of the post, 30 yards out, should be put over. Why don't they take it from the ground?
I think you're going to write a book on that by the end of the season. It's certainly your hobby horse.
Better than referees.
Noel Maguire, certainly worthy of inclusion, has been very much involved. Giving this one very long. And a chance for Terry McGowan, flicking it outside to Desi Sloyne. Outside him is Darragh McCarthy. Score on. Score taken. Second point for Darragh McCarthy. And certainly after a very slow start by Sligo, they are beginning to show a bit of determination. Now there are only 3 points between the teams thanks to this latest kick by Darragh McCarthy. 3 extra minutes to be played in this first half here in Croke Park. Cormac McAnally taking up a good position, giving it outside to Ryan McMiniman. McGuigan again shows well, trying to get it inside. This time it's Kieran Quinn giving it to Eamon O'Hara, giving it long. It's 2 against 1 here, and the one has the ball, and it's Jerry McGowan, fouled by Cormac McGinley, and the momentum is with Sligo. Can they capitalise on this before half-time?
All of a sudden they have shed their inhibitions and are now starting to play with a little bit of abandon and getting a bit of a foothold around the middle of the field.
David Durkin showing well is Kieran Quinn. 3, 4 players converge. The ball breaks free to Mark Breheny. Back inside to Kieran Quinn. Can he finish? Oh yes he can, but it's over the bar. Now Sligo are playing with passion. That's why we came to Croke Park. Not to dawdle and admire Tyrone. The work ethic, this is what Peter Ford wanted. And this is a sure example of players working really hard. Quinn had a blast and it went over the crossbar. 2 points between the teams. Peter Ward will be happy to slow matters down now. I'll state it again, the momentum is with Sligo. They're now playing with a little bit of abandon, a little bit of confidence. despite still making some unforced errors. David Durkin, the half-back line now coming forward. John McPartland. Remember, these two teams met a week before the Connacht final in a challenge match, and it ended in a draw. Brian Robinson has made the left corner back jersey his own this season in his first championship, and he certainly has been impressive. Declan McCrossan given a lot of scope out that left flank. Colin Holmes brings Philip Jordan into the play. The long ball again. Neil Carew trying to get a fist to it. Breaking ball falls for Stephen O'Neill. Patrick Naughton again chases, knocks it away from him, picked up by Brian McGuigan, has a blast, blocked, and it comes to Paul Durcan. And the Sligo fans in Croke Park respond to the endeavours on the pitch. Darragh McGarty gives it into the space this time. This is much better out of Sligo. The formula has been changed and it's now working. Mark Breheny, Desi Sloyne wants it inside. Back outside too, waiting for it, is Darragh McGarty. Chance of another point if he connects properly. Peter Ward has the situation under control. Cormac McAnally seems always available for Peter Ward's deliveries. Brian Dooher. 37.5 minutes played. Declan McCrossan. A half dominated by Tyrone, but still only leading by 2 points. McCrossan tries to change the complexion, but he sends it wide. 9 wides for Tyrone. A little bit of anxiety in the Tyrone fans.
Yes, and I think the Sligo comeback has been inspired by O'Hara, but also by Darragh McGarty and Kieran Quinn, both who've come into the game significantly in the last 10 minutes.
And indeed David Durkin is going forward as well from centre back.
Very much so. Well, Brian Dooher, he's marking. Brian Dooher is going so far back.
Yes. Well, we had an interesting final 10 minutes, a game that Tyrone seemed to be strolling through, with Peter Canavan, the captain, scoring 3 points, 2 of them absolutely magnificent. But despite that performance, Eamon O'Hara has led his side to within 2 points of their challengers. And Eamon O'Hara's performance is, to say the least, admirable. At half-time, for two teams that have never ever met in the championship before, it's Tyrone 9 points, Sligo 7. Thank you very much, Michael. Welcome back. The game has just started, and Sligo playing now from left to right. Just one change at half-time. Kieran Gourley has been introduced by Tyrone. He'll be wearing number 17, and the player that's gone off is Conor Gormley. So just one change, and that's on the Tyrone side. Here's Peter Canavan, getting miles away from Brendan Phillips, and Phillips punished for allowing Peter Canavan so much space. First point of the second half, and Peter Canavan's fourth. Great run here by Canavan. From the reverse angle, it still looks impressive. Breaking ball. Picked up by Nigel Clancy. John McPartland. Declan McCrossan defending, despite wearing number 12. David Durkin to Paul Durkin, unrelated. It's a testing ball, here's a chance, oh! And it's blazed over the bar. Darragh McGarty had an opportunity to rattle the Tyrone net, but that should have been a goal. Let's just watch this again. The ball sent in by Paul Durkin. It was 1 against 1 here. McGarty outfielded the defender and scored a point.
Yes, and what's particularly noticeable in that case there was that Ryan McMenamin was totally beaten for height by McGarty, and it could have easily been a goal. In fact, it should have been a goal.
And McCarthy has taken up a position around the full forward area, and that's why Ryan McMenamin, who is now down injured, was back there.
Yes, there's another subtle change actually happening in the Sligo team. Eamon O'Hara is drifting into centre half forward quite a bit, and Kieran Quinn is moving into the middle of the field.
In his second championship season, Ryan McMenamin has certainly made an impact. He's recovered. And the kick out from Peter Ward. The punch down. And again it's Dara McGarty. Beginning to pose problems for Tyrone. And another free. It's back to the way it was at half-time. Mark Branney. Peter Ward is out of his goal. Flicks it back outside to Jerry McGowan. Is there anybody inside? No. Except Philip Jordan, that is. And so too Declan McCrossan. Somehow Jordan got it back outside towards Cormac McAnallen. Brian Dooher. Great running by Declan McCrossan. Pulled down by Noel Maguire. Free to Tyrone. Just off the ball, I was watching David Durkin there, telling his corner forwards to come out a lot more. They're playing too deep. As we watch Peter Canavan hit this in. Well gathered. Eamon O'Hara. Poor pass, however. Picked up by Peter Canavan, who's fouled subsequently. And that's a free for Tyrone. And a little bit of frustration just creeping into the game. A lot of pushing and shoving and handbag stuff. And the referee, John Bannon, I'm sure, will clear up matters rather quickly. But it was unfortunate that Eamon O'Hara, who had just caught the ball, gave a poor pass, which resulted in this sequence of play, with Canavan being fouled. Seems to have a back problem here as Canavan was brought down, and Brendan Phillips seemed to give him a knee on his way down.
Yes, I think an accidental knee now, to be fair about it, but definitely I think they made contact, and that's what caused the problem.
So the Tyrone captain going for his 5th point of the day. Still a leader and still very much an inspiration when he hits form. Comes straight to Eamon O'Hara, was pushing on Cormac McAnallen, and that's going to be a free to Tyrone. Hit in by Cormac McAnallen himself. Nicely picked up by Ryan McMenamin. Darren McGarty got a hand to it. Good work by the wing forward. Sligo just seemed to have lost their shape at the beginning of this second half. Brian Dooher nicely intercepted again by Dara McGarty, and amazingly drop kicks it over this side. It's an easy ball for Philip Jordan. Sligo need to regain their shape. Declan McCrossan with Noel Maguire. Sligo protesting to John Bannon, the referee, that McCrossan dived, but the referee maintains that it is a Tyrone free, and again it's Peter Canavan. 6 points for Peter Canavan. And very quickly the landscape has changed in terms of the scoreboard. This was Ryan McMenamin, and Darragh McGarty worked so hard in an earlier sequence. 4 points between the teams. Breaking ball picked up by Paul Durkin, but he lost it. Comes to Nigel Clancy, and that's going to be a free to Sligo this time. That's backs ball all the way. Brian Robinson comes clear. Gives it low towards Stephen O'Neill. Noel Maguire sweeps up. He has Patrick Naughton to his right, or indeed David Durkin to his left. Noel Maguire goes for the return. Pumping it into the space. Jerry McGowan gets there ahead of Cormac McGinley. Eamon O'Hara takes up the responsibility. Drops this in, and it's going to drop over the crossbar. It really was worth having a lash, and Eamon O'Hara is certainly leading his side by example. The 26-year-old from Tourlestrane is playing a captain's part.
Certainly that's the score of the match so far. That was a towering shot by Eamon O'Hara that time. Takes on his man onto his right foot, 45 metres out. Superb score, just landing on top of the net. Inspirational.
And it was quite literally worth waiting for. Declan McCrossan feeding Cormac McAnally. Pascal Canavan to his left. Decides to go into a slight cul-de-sac, but finds Philip Jordan. Brian Dooher flicking it in. Well read by Neil Carew. Good defending by the substitute. Feeds John McPartland. Gives it long, and it's quite a good ball to Jerry McGowan. He faces Peter Ward. He slips it by him, and he slips it by the post as well. Oh, the miss of the match. And Jerry McGowan did everything right here except the last part, which was to put the ball in the net. Wow, what a chance.
Did everything right technically, held his composure, took on the defence, put it under the goalkeeper for the wrong side of the post. That was a wonderful chance to go ahead, or to draw level with Tyrone.
Oh, it really was a great ball, and McGowan did so well. Cormac McGinley could do very little to prevent him, and then McGowan missed. And Brian Robinson picked up an injury in that piece of action. But Jerry McGowan could well have nightmares about this. But the crowd here in Croke Park, the Sligo fans, getting behind their team. They feel that they could actually produce a sensational result. Sligo thinking about introducing Paul Taylor, one of the best forwards in the game, out through injury for some time. Noel Maguire got a touch to it and finally got his hands on the ball. In towards David Durkin. Brian Dooher. Mark Breheny. Breheny turns and he shoots off the post. Jerry McGowan is there again. Can he get a touch to it? Chris Lawn did so well. Decisive and strong in the tackle. Brian Robinson uses Philip Jordan. Back to Robinson. Surrounded. This is what Tyrone were doing to Sligo in the first half. Chris Lawn changes the direction of the play. Brian Dooher nipping in is Kieran Quinn. And it's Darragh McGarty that actually picks up the ball, and it's a free into Sligo.
And Sligo have thrown off the chains. They're starting to play with the passion that was absent in the Connacht final that the management was so critical of. They're playing now as if they want to win it, and it's very, very encouraging from their point of view.
So Jerry McGowan again with the responsibility of this free. Still to score in this match. That statistic is now changed. It makes up slightly for that goal-scoring opportunity, but not fully. 2 points. It's the same as it was at half-time. They're going to bring in Paul Taylor for Mark Breheny. And you can hear the response. A pelvic injury, primarily through wear and tear, has hampered his performances over the last 12 months. Moving well at the moment, but still slightly troubled, I believe. And like in the Connacht final, he's come on from Mark Breheny. The momentum again is with Sligo, but can they avail of it? Brian Robinson. Nigel Clancy gets it the second time round. Uses Eamon O'Hara. Chris Lawn, a little bit of pushing perhaps on Desi Sloyne, unnoticed by the referee. Brian Dooher, half blocked. Brian McGuigan back to Dooher. A lunging challenge by Neil Carew provides no dividends. Dooher still loses possession, and it's Darragh McCarthy yet again. His work rate is phenomenal. Again, great tackling. A little bit of a knee up on the backside there by the Sligo player, and that's going to be a free, I would imagine, for Tyrone. And Paul Durkin, yes, a little bit annoyed with the linesman that he didn't spot the foul earlier on Desi Sloyne. That's what he's protesting about.
It was either that or the time Brian Dooher took the ball out over the line.
Stephen O'Neill. 3 against 2 here. Cormac McAnallen wins possession. Comes out first John McPartland, and it's Sligo that have it once more. David Durkin back to John McPartland. They are playing with freedom now, willing to express themselves. Changing the direction of the play over towards Paul Taylor. Brian Robinson doesn't have the legs. Brian Robinson gets there first. Robinson under pressure. Feeds Brian Dooher. 2 points between the teams. Brian McGuigan. And here's Peter Canavan. The hop just fooling him slightly. Picked up neatly by Brendan Phillips. Good play by Sligo. Not afraid to pass within their own half of the field. Paul Durkin gives it long. This is a better ball for Paul Taylor. Facing him is Brian Robinson. Gets inside. Robinson floats this one in. Peter Ward has to come off his line. The ball is loose and is picked up by Cormac McGinley. They're beginning to create chances in front of the Tyrone goalposts. Colin Holmes uses Philip Jordan. The script said a bit of a cakewalk for Tyrone. Not so. As Sligo now have to defend. Stephen O'Neill knocked away from him. Picked up. John McPartland seems to be fouled. It's there. McPartland bravely gets up. Works his way out of trouble. Gives it to Eamon O'Hara. Sligo willing to run it. Tyrone leaves it and feeds Patrick Naughton. Back to Kieran Quinn. Paul Taylor. This is great play by Sligo. Great block down by Brian Robinson. Showing just why he's a first choice cornerback for Tyrone. Sideline ball quickly taken by Noel Maguire. This is like a hurling game, it's so fast. Paul Taylor half blocked by Brian Robinson. Kieran Quinn unable to get there. Colin Holmes does. Away coming is Kieran Gourley, introduced at half-time, remember, for Conor Gormley. Picked up by Brian McGuigan. It's non-stop action. Pascal Canavan floating it in, and David Durkin intercepts. He was aiming for Kieran Gourley. Kieran Quinn. Conor Gormley playing corner back now. Cormac McAnallen. The ball in play for an extended period of time now. Colin Holmes. Declan McCrossip. A little push by Darragh McCarthy. And that's going to be, I would say, a sideline ball Sligo. Declan McCrossip is annoyed. And I think he was pushed as he was kicking the ball.
Yes, but we have witnessed one of the most wonderful pieces of sustained football that I've seen in quite a while, and both teams deserve great credit for it. Giving everything to the game, playing with great variety. I think, yes, he's pushed out over the line, I think they were looking for a free, claiming that there was a push on McCrossan.
Brian McGuigan has picked up an injury. Son, of course, of Frank McGuigan, who played centre field and former All-Star. Wonderful player, his dad. And Brian McGuigan following in his father's footsteps. This was Paul Taylor, and a fine block down by Brian Robinson. And was part of the ending of that wonderful period of football, as Martin Kearney said, and rightly so. Face of determination. Really intense, really determined.
Very much so, Martin. I'd be a little bit worried from a Tyrone point of view. The movement in the forward line that was so fluent and so varied in the first half has stopped this half, and Sligo seem to have got the measure of them and are getting out first for the ball. Certainly there's anxiety in the Tyrone bench at the moment.
Well, it's not often that you see Eugene McKenna come onto the pitch giving instructions. Well caught, Chris Lawn. Under pressure, can't get his feet up. Referee says it's a free against him.
I think that's an awful decision. Wonderful catch, shouldn't be penalised in the way it was there. He was held down.
Well, I would agree with you, Martin, but Chris Lawn can protest all day. Doesn't have the time, as the free is going to be taken by Desiree Sloyne. Hits it accurately. Second point of the day. And incredibly, despite Tyrone dominating for most of the first half, I'll use that word again, momentum, because towards the latter stages of the first half, Sligo had the momentum. But this was a wonderful catch by Chris Lawn. He was penalised. You could see he slipped here, and really that should have been a free for Tyrone, if anything. Declan McCrossett, back to Philip Jordan. Paul Taylor fouling the left half back, and that's going to be a free for Tyrone. Stephen O'Neill makes the dash out towards left half forward position, gets away from Patrick Naughton, loses possession, and it's Sligo that come away with it. This is Noel Maguire, fully deserves his place. Poor pass, however, easily cut out. Pascal Canavan has the support of Colin Holmes and Cormac McAnallen. Switches play over to the far wing. It's a very poor ball, and Patrick Naughton did well to gather it. Under pressure now from Stephen O'Neill. Again, the players finding it difficult to get their footing, and the referee gives a free to Tyrone. And Kevin Hughes is going to be introduced, we believe, for Tyrone. Eugene McKenna giving instructions to his substitute. And the player that's going to come off is Brian McGuigan. And Brian McGuigan obviously picked up an ankle problem. And Kevin Hughes, who scored a goal against Wexford and a goal against Derry, is introduced. Indeed, some people think that he deserves his place from the start, and he'll add a lot of speed and a lot of strength to the full forward line. Stephen O'Neill. Easily cut out by Brendan Phillips. As Sligo again work out the ball. It's a poor pass with John McPartland. He had to work hard for it. Got there. Who's available now? Try Noel Maguire. In the middle, Eamon O'Hara and Neil Carew. And it's Maguire again, giving it to David Durkin, willing to run. It's hard to imagine that this guy was a substitute for the Connacht final. Darren McGarty, another substitute. These are now first team players, and this floats over the bar. The sides are level in Croke Park, and no man deserves to equalise this tie than Darren McGarty. He is having the proverbial stormer. For the second time in Croke Park, the sides are level. The work ethic that was sadly lacking in McHale Park Castle Bar has certainly been found over the last few weeks, and Darren McGarty, one of the heroes of Sligo, win or lose, is the equaliser. This might have been, in some quarters, read as the curtain raiser to Donegal and Meath, but this is producing a most entertaining first half. Neil Carew goes down as Ryan McMenamin just seemed to shove him away. A little bit of the over-dramatic side of Neil Carew there.
He's been a little theatrical, all right. I don't think there's anything wrong with him. Ryan McMenamin, all right, made contact, but he's okay.
Well, now, who's going to make it to the quarter-final? Still plenty of time. 13 minutes left in actual playing. John McPartland switches play. That's a very good ball, but it carries too much pace. Cormac McGinley tries to get it. Fires Chris Lawn. Remember, these sides play that challenge match. I know there's a whale of a difference between challenges and championship, but they did end level. Declan McCrossan waiting for it as Kieran Gourley sends it down the middle, picked up by Stephen O'Neill. Canavan makes a run. Brian Dooher is outside him. Stephen O'Neill, oh, well read. David Durkin again. His anticipation, his positioning, and indeed his decisive runs, a joy to watch. It's a poor pass, but it still comes far as Kieran Quinn. Ball up far as Paul Taylor. Has he the legs this time? And Robinson gets a touch, and it's a sideline ball, I would imagine, for Sligo. Tyrone are under pressure, make no mistake about it. The National League champions up against a side that has failed to win Connacht for 27 years. But this is the venue, this is the place that they produced one of their most amazing performances last year. The All Blacks from Sligo getting it in. Good work by Cormac McGinley. Cormac McAnallen helping out his defence. Brian Dooher, and it's McAnallen that gets the return pass. Kieran Gourley. Poor delivery. Easy ball. Picked up by Patrick Naughton. Eamon O'Hara. His wonderful points seem to inspire his colleagues. Nigel Clancy plays his club football with Na Fianna here in Dublin now. To Darren McGarty. Challenged by Ryan McMenamin. McGarty needs the support. McGarty wins it back. He still needs the help. Gets it inside past Paul Durkin. Has a chance. Didn't take the option of scoring. Gives it to Kieran Quinn. Break falls for Jerry McGowan. Another block down. Great defending by Tyrone. One Sligo man who's pulled back by Chris Lawn, and the players are protesting, and that was a blatant free for Sligo. Cormac McAnallen gives it along. Pascal Canavan, Peter Canavan rather. Neil Carew is down injured as Sligo take up the ball. Eamon O'Hara. Eamon O'Hara, I think, did an old experienced hand trick there. I think he pulled Peter Canavan down. Peter Ford having a quick chat with TJ Kilgallen. Is another move required? Two great Mayo men, two great Sligo men now. Still down injured, getting attention is Neil Carew. This was a great block down here from Kieran Quinn's effort. Very good defending. Tyrone are in trouble because they acknowledged that only they would introduce Ger Cavlin if they were in trouble. Acknowledgement that they need to rejig. Pascal Canavan is the player that's going off. Ger Cavlin, despite having a fractured jaw, is introduced. It was because of medical advice that they didn't pick him in the starting 15. Chris Lawn and Desi Sloyne, and that's a wide ball.
It's amazing what passion can do, like the cohesion, the clarity of mind and the quality of movement that Tyrone had earlier has been nullified by the passion and the sheer exuberance of Sligo in the second half. Great credit to the comeback that they have made.
This time Peter Ward changes his tactics, he gives it short. In the centre is Kieran Gourley, normally a centre half back, half block down, Nigel Clancy, Noel Maguire, Paul Durkin. Sligo in control at the moment. Kieran Quinn, lovely play by Sligo. Paul Taylor switches the direction of play because Jerry McGowan pointed over to the Cusack stand side. Can he score? It's a bit optimistic. It's off the post. It comes back to Taylor. Chance here for Desi Sloyne. Can he score? Yes! Sligo! And Desi Sloyne. Oh, incredible! What is it about Croke Park that inspires the men from the West? A team that cannot win the county championship since 1975 can produce a wonderful, scintillating performance. It came off the post. Desi Sloyne was the fastest fastest to react. He steadied himself and then he pulled the trigger and shot the bullet into the back of the Tyrone net.
Wonderful score altogether, Marty, for Sligo. It's amazing. In the first half they seemed intimidated by Croke Park. In the second half they're inspired, and as a unit they're working so well. A credit to the county.
Here it is again from the other side of the pitch. Ball came down, Desi Sloan reacted, got inside Peter Ward. Chris Lawn tried his best as we go back to the live action. Desi Sloan's goal, the difference between the teams. David Durkin, back to Kieran Quinn, into the space. And it was that crossfield ball that Jerry McGowan asked for earlier, and he skipped away. It's McGowan, he has the chance to take the point. It comes back off the post, and Tyrone survive. Declan McCrossan. We're having a pulsating match in Croke Park. The long ball. Can they do something here? Jer Cavlin gets it far as Peter Canavan. On the turn, sends it across the face of the goal and wide. Tyrone introduce Owen Mulligan, normally plays corner forward. And he's going to come on for Declan McCrossan. Owen Mulligan coming on for this man, Declan McCrossan. This is a wonderful goal by Desi Sloan. Confident and calm.
Yes, and credit his nerve. He held it that time and others might have lost it.
Kieran Gourley fouled. Giving it long. It's 2 against 2 here. Punched away. Cormac McAnally. 6 minutes left. Takes a shot, and that too goes to the left and wide. They're beginning to panic.
A little bit, Marty. That's 2 bad wides, one from Peter and one from Cormac there that definitely were scoreable. But certainly the ball should be kept in play. There were Hail Mary shots from difficult distances and angles.
Looks like Sligo are going to introduce Sean Davey as well. And Sean, of course, comes on for Kieran Quinn, I believe. Sean Davey always plays in the half-forward line. Davey was the first choice centre-forward for the game against Galway. And of course last year he scored a great goal against Mayo, but he comes on for Kieran Quinn, who's worked very hard. Is it possible that Sligo could qualify for the last 8 of the All-Ireland series? They have Eamon O'Hara to inspire them, and they have 5 minutes and a little bit of extra time to wait. But they're up against a very crafty side, wonderfully talented, the men from Tyrone. Great defending, Neil Carew. And that's going to be a sideline ball for Tyrone. The sun coming out here now in the capital. Brian Dooher. The ball breaks free. It's James Curran who reacts the fastest. He gives it long and he's challenged as the ball was being cleared. And that was a bit of silliness on the part of the Tyrone men.
Yes, but just going back to Sligo, Marty, there's great quality to their play in the second half, buckets of passion and endless variety to the type of attacking ploys they've had, great defensive work, but the work ethic is there. The thing that they've been moaned was absent of the Connacht final is there in abundance today, and that's why they're winning. They have quality.
Well, they're proving it, but can they hold on? John McPartland. The space is over this side. Giving it low towards Jerry McGowan. The support play is in the shape of Sean Davey. Just took his eye off it. Brian Robinson again comes in to clear. Mr. Consistency at left corner back. Jer Cavlin. 4 extra minutes, we believe. So there's still plenty of time as we now approach the 67th minute of this All-Ireland qualifier. Cavlan thinking about taking a point, but it slices off his boot and goes well wide. 12 wides for Tyrone, 7 for Sligo. And if this match ends level, it will go to extra time.
Yes, I think 2 periods of 10 minutes, Marty, as we found out earlier this year.
The breaking ball. Plenty of Tyrone players. One of them, Brian Dooher, gives it low, trying to seek out Peter Canavan, and he won it so well. Flicks it outside. Far as Kevin Hughes has to go back. Robbed in a vital position. Brendan Phillips under pressure. Gives it to David Durkin. Gives it outside to Noel Maguire. 2 players introduced in the Connacht final. They're like experienced heads outside there. They're brilliant. Eamon O'Hara waiting for it. There's Neil Carew. Oh, that's great play by the All Blacks. Sean Davey. You wouldn't find it in New Zealand. And it's Eamon O'Hara, the captain. Leaves it out far as Sean Davey. The run is a diagonal one for Tessie Sloyne. Bypasses it. Comes far as Peter Ward. Goalkeeper coming far out the field. The first man who makes a dash is Owen Mulligan, and he misjudges it. The initiative is all in favour of Sligo at the moment. Possession is vital for Sligo to produce what will be the shock of the year. Sean Davey willing to hold on to possession. John McPartland. If work and passion wins All-Ireland qualifiers, this surely is it. Jerry McGowan, Paul Durkin, Sligo in control. Back to McGowan, back to Durkin. Hold ball, Durkin not known for his scoring, hits it, and incredibly he puts it over the bar. Paul Durkin, 31 years of age, the ex-Curry man, now na Fianna, 11 years playing for Sligo. Is it possible for a wonderful footballer, great-hearted player like Durkin to get into the quarter-finals of the All-Ireland Championships? This is sheer class by Durkin.
Wonderful class, great will, great passion, great belief, and Tyrone have been overwhelmed by a black defensive blanket and a wonderful piece of creative play by them throughout the second half. You certainly must credit the management too of Peter Ford and TJ Gallimati Hoy for the way they have instilled belief into those players after such a disastrous start and a disappointing Connacht final.
And the Sligo fans can hardly believe it. As Noel Maguire gets some attention, medical attention for some cramp. It's Reggie McNulty, the physio, as we watch Peter Ford. Are they about to do it again in Croke Park? The chorus has already started, and this Bandino has certainly inspired his colleagues in the stand. The players have done it for Sligo, perhaps. There is still time. 70 and a half minutes, and that is over the bar. John McPartland celebrates as Tessie Sloyne sends it over the bar. A goal and 3 points for the corner forward. And it's Sligo again. Tyrone are rattled. Ball into the space. Paul Taylor and Brian Robinson, who's won every battle. And if there's a Tyrone man of the match, it surely could be Brian Robinson. Sideline ball quickly taken. The referee has blown his whistle. Sideline ball to be taken again. It's funny to see so many players being affected by cramp. It just shows you the effect this new Croke Park, this magnificent Croke Park has on the players because of those extra metres now available.
Very true, Martin. It's wonderful to see the way both teams responded to their presence in Croke Park today. To me, this has been as enjoyable a game as I've seen in a long time. Both teams inspired by being here.
Jonathan Davey coming on for Paul Taylor. So Paul Taylor has played his part. He was the one that had the vision to find McGowan, remember. He was the creator. even if Sloan was the finisher. 2 minutes left. And there's a tension around Croke Park. The referee has blown his whistle for some off-the-ball stuff. Yes, he is, in fact, apologies, he's actually making room for the substitution to take place, for Paul Taylor to come off and Jonathan Davey to come on. First year on the panel for Jonathan. For Paul Taylor, he may be disappointed being taken off again, but he certainly has played his part. But the lack of pace and the lack of match practice was obvious.
Yes, and going over to Tyrone, Marty, they've only scored 3 points in the entirety of the second half, which is a very, very poor return considering the amount of time they had the ball up in the Sligo half.
Jonathan Davey makes his championship debut. He's never played senior championship for Sligo. He comes on for Paul Taylor. They're testing out the Tyrone defence again. Chris Lawn easily deals with it. Is it possible for Tyrone to fight back? Ryan McMenamin flicking it inside. This is a good move by Tyrone. Stephen O'Neill getting inside, fouled, and it's a free for Tyrone. But they need a goal. Nothing else will do.
Yeah, they have to go for it, Marty.
They have a chance. Oh, a brilliant save by Curran. Slack marking by Sligo, it must be said. That sort of thing shouldn't happen in the dying seconds. And Eamon O'Hara seems a tired man at this stage. He's happy to get it anywhere. The break favours Sligo, and in particular Sean Davey, who'll hold possession. And he'll go over to the sideline and stay there all day. Linesman indicates it's a Tyrone ball. This is the quickly taken free, and a chance here of a goal, but brilliant save by James Curran. Sligo fans whistling for the referee to blow the whistle. 74 minutes played and 5 seconds. Sligo ball. Sligo rejoice. It's as if they won the Connacht Championship, but not quite. The National League champions. Are they about to depart the All-Ireland series? It looks impossible now, but the possible has become a reality for Sligo. Desi Sloan, the goal-scoring hero. Almost 5 minutes played. Ball pumped inside for Jonathan Davey, and again Brian Robinson has been extraordinary at left cornerback. The referee blows the full-time whistle. Tyrone are out of the All-Ireland series. Peter Ford and Sligo have rediscovered their pride. Their work ethic has finally been discovered. Desi Sloan, a goal and 3 points in this qualifier, means Sligo, for the first time in their history, are in the All-Ireland quarterfinals. A captain, fantastic, Eamon O'Hara. His incisive run seemed to inspire his colleagues not to be afraid of Tyrone and to run at them. Passion, pride, work, all the criteria that Sligo discovered in the last 3 weeks, and it was discovered and indeed implemented in the most fabulous venue in the world, Croke Park.
Yes, indeed, Marty, and it's amazing when they're freed from their fetters of their traditional rivals in Connacht. By God, can they respond? That was a tribute to every single one of the Sligo players, considering how down and out they were after the Connacht final. They played with great method, great passion, great belief, and outscored Tyrone, outplayed Tyrone in every facet of the game in the second half.
Well, the curtain raiser could well turn out to be the main event in Croke Park. The headlines will surely go to Sligo tomorrow, no matter what happens with Donegal and Meath. Because here in Croke Park, full-time score, Sligo 1 goal, 14 points, Tyrone 12 points.